What is up, everybody? Welcome into an all-new episode of the Pack-A-Day Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. And I am not alone today. In fact, I have three wonderful people that I get to celebrate the holidays with in this beautiful holiday spirit and talk this beautiful Packers season that we're all getting to experience together. You know him, Dusty Evely. You can find him on social media at Dusty Evely, if I remember correctly. It's been a hot second. You can find her at Perri_Goldstein and her at Maggie Loney on Blue Sky. Friends, it is so wonderful to be chatting with all of you. How are you guys doing?
Delightful. Half sick. I'm doing good.
The vibes are fine.
That's a good way to put it.
They're fine.
Perri, how are you?
Oh, it's been not my most favorite Sunday of watching football, but we found some silver linings as we always do.
We did. We'll talk about that Steelers-Lions game and Aaron Rodgers coming up clutch for Green Bay, which is awesome. We'll definitely talk about that, but let's start with the beautiful game that we got to experience on Saturday night with the Packers blowing a game to the Chicago Bears. We don't need to necessarily go in any direction, but I figured today could be hopefully a good Packers therapy session for all of us and hopefully everyone listening as well, as we maybe go a little Festivus and air some grievances. And there may be feats of strength. I'm not positive yet, but Maggie, I'll start with you. How are you feeling in the aftermath of all of this?
I mean, Perri and I kind of talked about it on Packs What She Said, but it's really hard for us to be pessimistic very long. And I don't know if that's part of that, that there's so much other things to be negative about in the world that I'm just always going to choose to enjoy watching football, even though losing to the Bears is my least favorite thing in the entire planet. But no, I mean, I think there's still plenty of reasons to still be optimistic about the showing that the Packers had in Soldier Field in a hostile playoff environment, losing Jordan Love. You don't have Evan Williams. You don't have Zach Tom. The Packers needed so many things to go wrong that just all happens to go wrong. And they were still in control for 58 minutes of the game. And I felt that way about the first half of the Broncos game as well before, the injuries started to stack up there too. When this team is rolling, I think they can take on anybody in the league. It's just the self-inflicted issues that seem to crop up week after week that are the hindrance to them going as deep as they want to go in the postseason.
Perri?
I mean, my lovely co-host said it, didn't she? Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about Maggie and I always like to start with something optimistic, which we did, giving Malik Willis his flowers for coming in there and keeping them in that game because Jordan Love gets knocked out halfway through the second quarter, and that could have very easily been well, this game's done. And the Packers are very lucky to have a backup who very easily could have, won them that game. If not for some very fluky things. I think I'm a little less optimistic than Maggie because I think the red zone 0-5 is really the thing I can't get out of my head. Because the Bears needed 2 plays basically to win that game. They needed 2 clutch plays and they got them. And I very strongly believe that if the Packers had converted any of those 0-5s into touchdowns, the 2 plays that we're all talking about today, they're moot. They don't happen. They don't need to happen. They don't need to kick an onside kick to tie the game. We don't go into overtime. So again, Maggie said it well with it's a very self-inflicted wound kind of game, but the Packers going 0-5 in the red zone is just really brutal because they could have put that game away a lot earlier than they did. And it was just really frustrating to watch them keep the Bears hanging around.
I think any additional points on any of those 5, even if it's, they got 9 points, if they would have got 10 points, I think it could have ultimately been the difference. So yeah, just any additional point production would have been massive.
But I'm not even, I wholeheartedly, sure, yes, mathematically, but I think more I don't know, theoretically speaking, you should not be okay with going down into the red zone 5 times and coming away with 9 points. That's just simply unacceptable, and it should be unacceptable for this offense that is so good and has so many weapons still that we're playing in this game and has a play caller that again, we've seen can get very creative in the red zone. Not that I think, Matt had anything to do this. I think this was wholly execution. But you should have had at least 2 touchdowns, 2 of 5 in this situation. So
No, I'm totally with you. Dusty, how you feeling?
So I mean, right after the game, I'm not rational. I'm not a rational human being. So I was mad and frustrated about some things that were real and some things that were perceived unfairness, just universe in general, Packers related. I got mad that it's 15 yards only if you want to knock a quarterback out by lowering your crown directly into his face. I got mad about that, and then I watched it a couple dozen times. I was like, well, that was not intentional. Like, so I have calmed down. I am more rational than I was yesterday, I think. I mean, all those points are valid. I think all the stuff that Maggie and Perri already said, because they're very smart people. It's they need to come away with more points in the red zone, 100%. They also need to, I mean, some of that was Josh Jacobs fumbled. Like, Josh Jacobs fumbled like inside the 5. That sucks. Like, that probably should not have happened. You had the weird Malik Willis, and some of that's like, if Love is in that game, the whole game, there was so much stuff. That first half, LaFleur was just setting stuff up, dude. Like, he's just setting stuff up. And they go to knock him down in the second half, and Love's not in there, and Willis doesn't see it. He had the one throw to Watson in the back of the end zone that he was a solid 1 second late on that throw. Like, he read it and then checked the backside to look, and he was like, oh, I think I can throw this. But by that point, the window was already closed. Like, there's moments like that. There's moments where you just missed the big plays. And that's what happens when you have a backup in. Like, it's people have brought up the 2014 NFC Championship game, and I don't want to do that. But it is very much a, like, if one of these 20 things goes differently, the Packers win this game. And so it is one of those, Packers should have won that. It's frustrating that they didn't. However, with all the people that were down, that's without even like the noise I made when Fitzpatrick went down. And I was like, oh no, not Fitzpatrick. Like, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a big deal. But then they don't have another tight end for blocking. He's been so good for them this year in that role with Wiley out. And we've seen like dude, I would like what Musgrave's done this year. It's a bit, right? Like, he's leaning into the bit that, like, every time he changes direction, he falls down. Like, he's okay as a blocker. I think he's better as a blocker than people give him credit for. But then they're out the 12. Like, they can't run their 12 personnel anymore with that. And that's a bigger deal, especially at that point of the game with Willison, than it otherwise would have been. So just one of those, like, should I be upset that Fitzpatrick went down? It's probably not that big of a deal, but at the time it was. And it's another one of those small things. So I've been going too long. I think it's one of those things, like, if you're looking at this in terms of, like, what does this mean for this team? I don't think it means anything other than that they're beat up. Like, they had some mistakes in big areas. I've heard some stuff about Bisaccia in, like, the onside kick at the end. I will lay a lot of things at that man's feet. I'm not going to lay that one at that man's feet. That's just, everyone did their job, catch the ball. Like, there's just those tiny little things, execute a little bit. You had the fourth and one that Willis called, that was, they're getting a free release to Musgrave out in the flat. Spacing's weird. Watson's supposed to get like a little chip on the guy because that's man. Watson runs too deep, doesn't get him. It's not open. He's sacked, and then they get the ball. Perry get the ball like the 45 or whatever it was. Like, just those tiniest of tiny details in so many moments that if just one of those goes differently, they win. So it's frustrating, but ultimately I don't think it means anything in the grand scheme of things. I'd feel worse about it if the Steelers didn't just beat the Lions in one of the weirdest endings I've seen in a while.
It really did feel during that Steelers-Lions game that we were just going to get the weekend from hell. That all of a sudden it was going to be the Steelers completely blowing it. They missed the field goal and Detroit goes down, and then they score the touchdown. And not to go on a tangent on this, but this is a pretty big deal from what happened on Sunday. So we can talk about this really quick and take a side quest into this. But they score the touchdown, and I'm like, all right, there we go. Season from hell, weekend from hell, etc. And then you get a late flag there, and it gets called back. And then it's like, all right, now they get another opportunity, and you get offensive pass interference, lateral to Jared Goff into the end zone for a touchdown. But a second OPI takes another touchdown off the board. And like you said, Dusty, one of the most insane in a weekend of insane endings, the 2-point conversion on Thursday, the Packers-Bears game on Saturday, and then the Steelers-Lions game on Sunday. I mean, if you get one of those like every 6 weeks, you're like, wow, that was pretty remarkable. And we got 3 in a 4-day period of time. Unfortunately, one of them went very much against Green Bay. Another one went very much for Green Bay. But that was a crazy game. And kudos to Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers for helping out Green Bay. For those who don't know, Green Bay needed 2 of the 5 things with the 3 Lions games remaining and the 2 Packers games remaining. They needed either, between 2 Packers wins and 3 Lions losses, they just needed 2 of them, two in totality. So they got one of those with the the Lions losing to the Steelers. So they only need one of the remaining 4 to happen to make the playoffs. Either 1 Packers win or 1 Lions loss will ultimately get them in the playoffs. So that was a huge deal for Green Bay in 2 weeks, where so much has gone wrong for the Packers. It has also gone very wrong for Detroit, because if Detroit wins either of those games, and certainly if they win both of those games, we are having a very different conversation about where the season is at. So thank you, Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, for pulling off that win. And hopefully Green Bay can repay Pittsburgh with a win over Baltimore on Saturday and get them a little bit closer in the AFC North as well. Anyone want to add anything on about that game?
No, it was awesome. It was such a weird game. You had two drives that ended back to back on Jalen Warren, like exactly 45-yard touchdown run.
3 45-yard touchdown runs in that game.
Just absolutely insane, dude. Just absolutely insane game.
I just can't remember a time that the playoffs in week 16, there's been like 3 teams from one division locking things up.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the Niners, the Rams, and the Seahawks have already clinched and we still have 2 weeks left. I know like the seeding isn't set in stone, but that to me is wild. And we know the Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions all were represented last season, but it certainly wasn't like this caliber of dominance from a division this late, or this early, I guess, into the latter half of the season.
Hey friends, really excited to be partnering with HelloFresh for today's episode. I get dinners are difficult. It's not easy. You have to plan for the dinner in advance. You have to figure out the ingredients and what you're going to cook and how to get those ingredients. Meaning you got to go to the grocery store, pick everything up, and then you end up with too much stuff a lot of times. That's what usually happens to me. And then you have to cook the dinner, clean the dinner, and they just become unenjoyable. It's a chore. It's a hassle. And on top of that, a lot of times, even though I genuinely enjoy cooking, it ends up being something where, because I'm rushing through things, I don't make it the right way, or maybe I'm just following my own recipe and don't have one set up. All of it just becomes something that, again, has no longer been enjoyable despite my joy of cooking. And that's where HelloFresh came in and made everything so much more simple. And it really brought my enjoyment back to making dinners and making healthier dinners for my family. It's easy. You just go and you get their entire rotating selection of meals and you pick out what meals you want for the week. And these are hefty portions. And I mean, really hefty. I just made Kung Pao chicken for the family. And there were not only 4 portions, but they were enough food on everyone's plate to even actually go back for seconds. These, again, are very generous portions with really quality protein. The chicken in the Kung Pao chicken was absolutely delicious. They're meals that kids absolutely love and a wide variety of options. So this makes it not only so that you can choose the meals that you want, you get the delivery to your door and you get all of these really fresh ingredients. I actually just had with the Kung Pao chicken, it came with a bell pepper, an orange bell pepper, and it was so fresh. I started cutting it up and eating the bell pepper right away. I'm not even a big bell pepper guy, and it tasted unbelievable and unbelievably fresh. And we got the ingredients, we looked at all of it and we're like, we can't get this from our store locally this fresh. That's how fresh it was when it came to our doorstep. Dinner doesn't have to be hard anymore with HelloFresh. It's easy, it's convenient, and it's enjoyable once again. And that's what I really, really love about it. And right now, by utilizing code PACKADAY HFZWL, you can see it on your screen. You can get a freeze-willing 4-star chef's knife on your 3rd box, a $144.99 value, plus 10 free meals, and your first box will ship free. Again, using code PACKADAY HFZWL. Make sure you use that code to get that deal before supplies run out. What are you waiting for? Sign up for HelloFresh right now. Yeah, I'm right there with you. And really, the only thing that's left to decide in the NFC is who wins South between Tampa and Carolina and who gets the final wild card spot. Well, it could still be a divisional spot for Green Bay technically, but who gets that final playoff spot between Detroit and Green Bay? That's all there is left to decide, with Green Bay being the heavy favorite over Detroit. And obviously Carolina, Tampa Bay still have a game left, but Carolina won a big game over Tampa Bay today. So that's all that's left to decide. And then of course the seeding 1 through 7 is pretty up for grabs as well. But it's crazy to see how many teams have already clinched in the NFC. And that, again, there's so many teams that are eliminated with 2 weeks left. This is not to go on a completely other tangent, but this is why I think, adding another game, safety reasons aside too, of like, do we need another week where like more than half the league is eliminated and there's a lot of exhibition games going on added to the schedule? But I'm usually more pro football, but that seems to maybe be not the greatest idea.
After the Packers mash unit currently, like, can we chop 2 games off? Maybe can we just get rid of 2 of them?
I'm concerned, honestly, to Dusty's point about how injured like every team is at this point in the season. I think 18 needs to be the limit, because like you see how Josh Allen get hurt to like your stars are getting hurt. The Chiefs had another quarterback tear their ACL today. Just like not good. It's not good vibes.
The other thing too is that we're now just for the first time really seeing these seasons stack upon each other more, not just 17 games, but the additional playoff team that gets in on each side with 7 instead of 6. There's more football. So that's going to have wear and tear over time, where maybe it doesn't come to fruition right away. But as these players play, 4 or 5 more games, 6 more games over a 6-year period of time, maybe even more than that, depending on playoff seeding, that, you could end up with more wear and tear, injuries, etc. And we're certainly see that playing out pretty much every single week in the NFL. And it's always been a war of attrition, but it is even more so now. And we can just kind of lean into that as well from a Packers injury standpoint. Matt LaFleur talked on Sunday. And not only is Jordan Love going through concussion protocol, I don't know if you guys read this as well, but it almost seemed like he was not saying so, but like optimistic that Love was going to be able to play on Saturday.
It's hard to read anything about the concussion stuff, but like,
yes,
it seemed hopeful, but like, I have no idea what that means for me.
Matt even said, but also you have to like hit certain like metrics every single day. So like if he's looking good now, but then plateaus right on Wednesday, like there's still I don't know. I personally, and this is why Dusty brought up like being so angry about this hit. Like I'm angry because don't touch my quarterback's head. Like I feel like everyone needs to be wearing a Guardian cap. Stop making fun of those guys. And be like, I have had a concussion before. I've had multiple. Going back into football after 1 week seems absolutely insane to me. I don't know if they have like special technology to get these guys to feel right, but like there's no way that doing that is good for you. And like, again, I hope Jordan Love plays on Saturday, but I find it extremely concerning.
If I were willing to bet, I would bet that in our lifetime, there will ultimately be a rule that if you get a concussion, you can't play the next week at some point in our lifetime. That's just my random guess.
Yes.
I think that'll ultimately end up being the case. But also the NFL loves making money, and Jordan Love and other star quarterbacks being out an extra week because of a concussion is probably not good for their bottom line. But you would think if they really do care about injuries at some point that I could easily see something like that happening, but that's not the case. We'll see if he plays. But on the other side of that is that Matt said that Malik Willis and the shoulder issue is a legitimate thing. And they're going to have to figure out him throughout this week, which means even if Jordan and Malik get cleared later in the week, you might be looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practices with Clayton Thune running the show. Which is just a wild, insane scenario. So yeah, all of this is just, it's crazy how beat up Green Bay is, what they're fighting through. It did sound like Christian Watson got through this game okay. Josh Jacobs is clearly extremely beat up and desperately needs a week off in some way, shape, or form, but I think he won't let that happen. So that's making that complicated as well. But yeah, this is just a very beat up team at the moment.
He should have taken this game off.
Yes.
He should have taken this game off. Yeah. Andy, the Packers can run the ball like pretty effectively with Emmanuel Wilson. And I think this Bears defense, maybe the Ravens are too. I'm not sure. I'm watching them play right now against the Patriots. I'm like, I think maybe the Packers can run on this defense, but like they need to, I'd rather Josh Jacobs healthy for the playoffs.
He seems very much like the way he's been talking to is very much like I'm going to be out there. I'm going to play. At some point, they say, buddy, we know, like, I guess the knee sounds like it's probably not getting worse, but it needs to rest.
He was on crutches on Monday.
Yeah.
Like the boy was on crutches on Monday. I think there needs to be a level of like long-term thinking, because if you really genuinely believe that you're going to make a deep playoff push, which the Packers seem to do, they need to make like some level of calculation on these injuries and when people are the most important and when they can like hold back during the regular.
Also, just from a pure football standpoint, from his first carry, you could tell he was not right. Like he
Right.
was not
Yeah.
as quick. The cuts weren't as crisp. Like he clearly was not even like 80%. He was
And
not
I'm
right.
sure getting hit like that and being in pain already impacts how you handle the ball.
Yep.
Right? You drop that ball when a hit hurts harder than it normally does.
Yeah, arguably you win that game if Josh Jacobs doesn't play in that game. Arguably, I mean, you don't know the butterfly effect of anything, but obviously a huge fumble in that game, and and Emmanuel Wilson looked really good in that game too, which was one of the bright spots. There weren't a ton when you got to the end of it, but Emmanuel Wilson I thought played very, very outside of the ball hitting him in the face mask and losing yards in the red zone. Outside of that, he had a really nice day. So yeah, where are we at from? Is there any signs of confidence or like the Packers actually getting any remotely healthier this week? Is there any silver lining? Is there any good news right now that we're getting? Because again, Christian Watson came out of it okay. Evan Williams and Zach Tom sound like they were not close to playing per Matt LaFleur yesterday in this game. I'm gonna bet that at some point we'll give them up to the week to through the week to play in this game, but. Man, it just seems like the hits literally and figuratively keep on coming, and they're just getting more and more hurt.
Maggie and I talked about this on Packs What She Said. So, because you mentioned Zach Tom and Evan Williams, I actually think the Packers did a really good job limiting the impact of their loss. Jordan Morgan had his best game as a starter. I thought
until the last play when it mattered the very most.
Well, yes. But holistically,
yes.
Speaking, same with Nate Hobbs, and Javon Bullard doesn't get nearly enough credit for how excellent he plays at all times and got moved. Right. They move the guys around a little bit in the DB room. And I thought they handled it quite well. I mean, when you hear Evan Williams is going to be out in this game against the Bears run game, you're thinking that's not something I want to watch, but I think they did okay. I'm not advocating for anyone to not play, but like the concern level is dialed down just a little bit after watching what they were able to do in the Bears game.
They probably looked really good up front. I thought that was like for a second it was 97. Kenny Clark. They got Kenny Clark back in there. He looked really good in the middle.
He had a couple really impressive plays that definitely caught my eye. Just stacking and shedding, resetting the line of scrimmage, just like multiple plays. I'm like, what is happening right now? Maybe they found their 2025 Howard Green player at the midseason mark to give him a little bit of a boost. Green Bay in 2010, of course, did lose both of these games. They're third to last and fourth to last games with the season, and then needing 2 wins at the end to get in the playoffs. So a lot of parallels continue with 2010. Hopefully that remains moving forward. They're obviously the last wild card team in that season. Could be the last wild card team in this season. I just want them to win the Super Bowl, Dusty. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
But can you imagine if that's they play the Steelers, who are also a wild card, and then I guess the Steelers at this point are poised to actually take the AFC North. But just to
it can't be a perfect
like,
girl, right? There's got to be a
well,
couple
Rogers.
Yes.
Fancy seeing you here in our Super Bowl appearance. Like, come on. Then people would really think the NFL is scripted. Like.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that year, we had a healthy Clay Matthews. We had a healthy Donald Driver up until the run. We had a healthy Charles Woodson.
The Super Bowl.
If Xavier McKinney would please hang on to a pick. Please, for the love of God. What happened to that man? He is making plays. That dude is still everywhere.
Playing really well. Yeah.
He can't haul him in, man. I don't know what's going on there.
That's why I said this morning to Maggie. I'm like, it feels really hard to complain about him because he's playing so well. And like, he makes plays on the ball consistently. It's just like no one else is creating turnovers. So we need someone to do it. And he's the closest.
He's getting there. He's the amount of ground he covers to get to those balls too. And you're like, he's there, dude. He's got his hands on it. He just, for whatever reason, like whatever magic he had last year, just get stickier gloves, man. Let's do it. Playoff run, brother, whatever it takes.
If anyone's not ever felt the stickiness of those gloves that they have, like my kids have football gloves, and these things are like, it's literally Home Alone sticky bandits, like fest. It's literally like they stick to everything. And it is crazy. It is absolutely wild how like you catch everything that comes your way with it. It's remarkable that anyone can drop anything with those. Those are the hardest plays that I have when I'm grading plays throughout the course of the week. Is like, so with McKinney in general, like when he gets to some of those places, like, well, most players aren't even getting to that spot. So how am I going to downgrade him for dropping a ball that like only he is getting to because he's such a special player and reads it well and takes such a great angle and reads it perfectly. So like nobody else should even like be there. At least it's a special effort to get there. And now am I going to downgrade him because he dropped the ball? But at the same token, if you have an interception, that's an interception worthy play and you drop it, that's literally a turnover. I mean, there's no other way to put it. You have the ball ready to take away. And by dropping it, it's giving it back to the other team. So those are always really unique ones. I think that the difference for me a lot of times is like the Darnell Savage one in the playoff game a couple years ago, where he's just literally chilling in his zone and like he didn't do anything. He's just there and they literally throw it right to him and he drops it. It would have been a pick six had he caught it. That to me is more negative, whereas like Xavier ranging over from no man's land to get to a ball and breaking it up is still more positive than negative. But those are, yeah, it still sucks one way or the other when you can't hold on to those opportunities.
Yeah.
I figure since he's getting there, that's my thought so far is like, he's getting there. He's so close. Like the fact that he's there, at some point he's going to start catching these. It would just be nice if it happened sooner rather than later at this point.
How are we doing mentally after two of the roughest weeks in the Packers regular season that we could possibly imagine? Everything's still in front of Green Bay. You know, they control their own destiny. If they go 6-0, they win a Super Bowl. It's simple as that. Just go 6-0, win a Super Bowl.
Sure.
But yeah, how are we? Maggie, I'll start with you. How are we feeling?
Well, a couple minutes ago, when we were talking about all the injuries, I was going to say you sold this as a therapy session for all of us to talk about how we still feel good, and then it made me feel worse. But no, I mean, I'm still comfortable with where this team is at, and you know what's in front of them, and it certainly does get harder because Perri and I talked about it earlier, like. It feels like you are now in the playoffs if you're Green Bay. So to think about, you can still drop one, but you don't want to be on a
that.
No, but I'm saying you don't want to be on a 3-game losing streak. So you need to start winning and building momentum. But it certainly looks a lot harder now to say, like, when you put it into perspective for any of these teams, like, okay, now you just have to go win 6 in a row. Like that is a lot mentally. And that's why they always say, like, take it 1 week at a time. Don't look past opponents. But the good news is that the Packers haven't lost more than 2 games back-to-back all season, right? So they got that out of the way, and now they can go on another run because every time they lose or tie, they start another win streak. So this will start it.
Perri?
I think when we say every game from now on feels like the playoffs is because if the Packers want a real shot at like any kind of home field, like starting the playoffs off in a good place, like not the 7th seed. It's
not Soldier Field.
Right. These are must-win games the next 2 weeks. So that's why it gives it that playoff-y like atmosphere to me going forward, because yes, they somewhat control their own destiny in a way if they win out and like they need a little help elsewhere. I guess that's the opposite of controlling your own destiny, but they can win out and still win the division, like have a high seed, like all the things. But if they lose one more, things start to look really precarious. So that's what we mean by playoff. How do I feel? I think I'm frustrated because we have all seen how good this team is when they're firing on all cylinders, and their inconsistencies haven't really changed from the beginning of the season. They just look different each time. They're inconsistently inconsistent with like what is working and what isn't. And I still feel the loss of the players that are going to be out for the rest of the season pretty acutely. Like Micah and Devontae Wyatt being out on that side of the ball, like really scares me. Like that pass rush, they got pressure on Caleb Williams, but like they don't scare me and they shouldn't scare any opposing teams. Like Rashawn Gary was like jogging in some of those plays. Like
I'm
fully,
like the second snap, dude.
Fully, I'm like
right away.
You have no go right now. So do I have a lot of faith in the coaching staff? Do I have a lot of faith in the offense? Yeah, I do. I definitely still have a lot of faith in this offense to put a game together. I just, I don't know. I like to believe that Jordan Love has the Superman in him. Like, I really do believe that he has it in him. I just really hope we get to see it and they don't continue to hurt themselves. I guess I still waver on it. In the Aaron Rodgers era, like, the Packers were always in it, right? Because we saw Aaron Rodgers be Superman over and over and over and over. And we always said we don't want him to have to. Like, we really don't want him to have to. And I think the Packers built this team around having Jordan Love not have to be Superman. And now with these injuries, you kind of need him to be. So I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess.
Dusty?
I'm fine. I'm generally always fine.
Okay.
This
Make me
time
sound
of year.
dramatic.
I mean, I think where I am with it, where I have been really since the Micah injury for sure. Like Micah going down, when I thought Watson was done for the season, they compound that with like Kraft left, and they kind of like reconfigured the offense enough to where the Kraft injury hurts, but not as much as it did. They've changed it enough where like they found an answer for that. It's hard to find answers once you get to this certain point. So many guys are injured. So I just adjusted expectations. I mean, I went from beginning of the year, I was sitting on my porch the day after the Parsons trade. I live in Kentucky, and one of my neighbors walked by. And he was like, Packers, huh? What do you think? And I was like, Super Bowl. Like, listen, man, you can't tell me anything. Super Bowl. And even like midway through the season, they had some rough patches. Micah's still doing the Micah thing. They were starting to find their way a little bit more on offense. Like, listen, they had lost a couple games. I still felt good about them. They're just at a point now. Like, I like where the offensive line is at. I do like Belton is still. I like him in the run game. Pass game stuff is not great. Morgan, I thought started rough, ended rough. In the middle was generally fine. Like, I thought he looked good. Ryan's been good. Like, the offensive line's coming together. Like, that's been cool. That's been good to see. There's just too many holes. Like, there's too many things that have gone wrong, that can go wrong. There's too many missing pieces in the biggest areas that at this point, I think I'm like their highest point. I think, yeah, they lose in the divisional round. I think it's about as far as they can go. Like, they can win the Super Bowl. They can go that far. Like, there's a part of me that believes they can, because if they get rolling, if that offensive line looks good, Fitzpatrick, I didn't see what the Fitzpatrick injury was, actually.
It's an Achilles.
Okay, so he is not coming back. But I think they found something with the 6 offensive lineman stuff. If they lean a little heavier into that instead of 12 personnel with Kennard out there, if they trust Morgan at right tackle, like, you can build all these different things in your mind. Well, now you got the 12 personnel, but it's extra lineman. You got Watson out there, and he can hit the big stuff. And, Wicks is maybe get a little healthier. Reed looks good. Like, you can build all this stuff in your mind, and like, you can build a picture of where that's going to be. Realistically, the team that this is this year with the pieces they're missing, yeah, that's probably like tops as they lose in the divisional round. Like, it's not. I will not be heartbroken. I will be fine. It is just one of those things. Like, I just adjusted somewhere middle of the season that like they can do it. You can paint a picture, you can do it, but it's so rare to see a team that has lost this, not only this many guys at the biggest pieces of your offense. Like, and we don't, and, Parsons being out, Kraft, they had literally like built the offense out of Kraft, and then they struggled when he left, and then they figured it out again. They lost Watson. I don't think he's 100%. So it's just, I've reconfigured expectations, and now it's fine. That game was frustrating. Generally the day after a game, I am perfectly fine. So at the moment I'm fine. I'll be frustrated next week, win or lose. I'll be frustrated the week after that, win or lose. But it's just, I think the season as a whole, I have enjoyed the season. It's been a really fun season. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. I can't wait to see the rest of this team, how they grow. That's one of the things I love every week is like, how do they account for this week was how are they accounting for Williams being out? How are they accounting for these losses? What are they going to do? And that stuff is so much fun on like a week-to-week basis. And it's going to be sad when the season's over. And I've kind of come to grow to live with the fact that they're probably not it this year. Maybe next year, but this year it's just it's too much, dude.
So you said they broke you, and they made you change your tune in the season.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, that's a much worse way to say it, Andy. Yeah, it's correct.
I actually had the same reaction, Dusty, after Micah. I was like, all right, still a good football team. I'm sure they make it into the playoffs, but the Super Bowl run feels a lot more improbable now. Yeah. Just like losing, like that for me was like the final loss of like too big of a player to really feel like they have the horses for, and like, look, anything can happen, right? Like, you get in, everyone's 0-0, but I'm where you are.
If Love gets back, I mean, the picture, if you want to paint it, the offensive line's looking a little better. if Love gets back and he's recovered from it, we'll see. We'll say he misses this week. He comes back against the Vikings. They win that game. They're in the playoffs. If the offensive line's good and Josh Jacobs has had that week off and the run game looks good because Belton is really growing into that role a little bit more every day, and McKinney suddenly learns how to catch the ball, like, listen, man, you get one turnover a game and then you win the explosives because you got Watson, you got Reed. I keep waiting for Golden to come on. I don't think it's happening this year, but you got those two guys. Like, it doesn't take, you need one or two plays sometimes in a playoff game, and they still have the players to do that. It's just, it's a real thin margin, dude. It's a real thin margin.
Did Lamar Jackson just get hurt?
It looks like it. Huntley's
Why
in
is,
right
why
now.
is Huntley in the game?
I think he got hit in the ribs. Didn't
That
look
could
great.
be a big deal for next week if there's no Lamar Jackson. So we will monitor that as this. We're currently in the beginning or the very end of the second quarter as we're recording this right now. So
I'm not wrong that Snoop Huntley almost beat the Packers when the Ravens came to Green Bay a couple years ago. Is that right?
I think that might be right. And yeah, Lamar's on the sideline right now talking to trainers. He doesn't
went
super
down
comfortable.
wincing after he was wincing on the sideline after going down.
Oh, here we
on
go.
a run.
They're replaying the play right now. Goes down.
It's tough to tell what happened.
Yeah, it doesn't seem anything there.
Doesn't look like a big hit. It looked like he was kind of grabbing his ribs or something, is what I was looking at, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot there. Maybe a shoulder? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. Obviously,
Yeah.
we'll monitor that as this game goes on, as we're still on. We'll probably finish this during halftime, so we probably may not have too much of an update, but we'll keep you posted throughout the course of the week. Just where I'm at, the good news is that every single team seems flawed in some real significant way right now. There's not any team that I look at and be like, oh, they're just too good. Green Bay can't beat that team. And the bad news is like, damn it, this would be the perfect year to be healthy and have Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft and everyone healthy at this point, because if you were, it feels like you would have the real opportunity to run through this thing and beat anybody. And again, you can beat anyone, but stacking those wins together as Lamar is now going into the locker room is just, it feels really, really difficult. But one game at a time. I don't think the playoff run, depending on what happens, is insanely daunting as I thought it once was. Detroit, if Green Bay gets in, Detroit's out of it. I'm not afraid of Chicago. I know Philly's had Green Bay's number, but I'm really not afraid of that specific Philly team. Seattle would worry me just because it's a house of horrors for Green Bay. But outside of that, like, I have a feel like Sam Darnold is probably, going to give you a couple opportunities if Green Bay can actually take advantage of them throughout the course of the game. The Rams scare the crap out of me, but Matt LaFleur's had Sean McVay's number. They've shown weakness lately. And if that's in LA, that's basically a Packers home game as well with nice conditions, because that thing will be full of Packers fans. I'm not super afraid of the NFC South. The 49ers, that would give me some trepidation, but they have the injuries too, just like Green Bay. So you don't like the 49ers one, Dusty?
I'm laughing at Perry's face when he said the 49ers. Perry doesn't like the 49ers one.
I get that, like, people think Seattle is the house of horrors because of that, like, one specific incident. For me, the horror is having to play the 49ers. Okay. For me, it's having to play the 49ers, period, in the playoffs.
Yeah, totally fair.
Home, away, I don't care. I don't like it. I don't want it. I hope somebody else beats them. Because you talk about LaFleur having McVay's number, Shanahan's got LaFleur's.
Totally true. Yeah, that's true, and that actually would be maybe the team that I would be least excited about playing at the moment. But so yeah, that's where I'm at with everything. I will say too, like, I want to see Green Bay win these next two games, obviously against Baltimore and Minnesota, and I think San Fran beats the Bears this weekend. And I know Detroit's not going to have anything to play for in that scenario. But we, as Packers fans, experienced that a few years ago when the Packers were trying to get into the playoffs and Detroit had nothing to play for, and they knocked Green Bay out of the playoffs. Detroit will play that game as honestly as any team in the NFL. And if you're Chicago, you don't want to have that game where that's the one that ultimately decides if you get the 2 seed or the 7 seed, or if you get, home field, or if you're the 7 seed. So you put that pressure back on Chicago and see if you can get a home game. Although, to your point, Perry, if Green Bay does get in that situation and Philly wins twice, Green Bay would be the 3 seed and potentially getting San Francisco at home in the opening round. Would you rather have San Francisco at home or the Chicago Bears on the road?
The Bears, for sure.
Yeah,
Perry, or
100%.
San Fran.
Okay.
Just because the Packers are obviously the bane of every other NFC North team's existence, right? Like we saw the Packers lose a game that they should have won yesterday, and like Bears, Vikings, and Lions fans come out of the woodwork to like celebrate collaboratively anytime something negative happens to the Packers. So as fun as obviously the NFC Championship game was to beat the Bears at Soldier Field and get to the postseason or to get to the Super Bowl, I would not want to give them the satisfaction. I would prefer to play the Bears team as they exist against the San Fran team as it exists. But the loss, if it were to happen, would be so much more horrific to me to have Chicago bounce you out of the playoffs than to be like, well, we didn't expect to make a deep run this year. So if San Fran has our number for one more season, then okay. And then we make a push in 2026. But no, Ben Johnson can't do it. That's the one team that I can't do it.
I want Chicago again. I want to end their season. I would find great joy in that.
Yeah, but
I also think there's something about getting someone, and this goes both ways, but getting a common opponent that feels like that you're ready for that. Like you're game planning for that one. And the Packers like just lost, right? They split the series this season.
You wouldn't know it, right? You would think that Chicago is like a three-time Super Bowl champion.
Well, that was their Super Bowl, but I don't know. There's something about like the uncommon, haven't played San Francisco this season, don't know what they bring to the table vibe that I'm not into. Again, I just have PTSD with the 49ers and I'm extremely biased with this one, but I also felt like the Packers completely dominated the Bears for 7 of the 8 quarters that they played them. Like they are a better football team, and I think that they can beat them if they play a third time.
The great news is if the Packers do make a run, we're probably gonna have to get over PTSD against the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Eagles. Like there's a variety of teams that have eliminated Green Bay on numerous occasions that they probably have to go through on the way. So we're gonna have to probably deal with a lot of that if that were to come to fruition. But again, one step at a time. A couple quick fun ones before we get out of here. All right, we talked about the Festivus airing of grievances. I'll let you go in any direction that you want. What's one grievance that you need to air? You can be mad at Matt LaFleur, Rich Bisaccia, Sean Nixon. There's grievances to be had right now. So who wants to go first? Who wants to air their current Green Bay Packers grievance or NFL grievance if you want to go in that direction?
I will say, and this is a selfish one. I'll throw it. I'm a big fan of LaFleur. I'm gonna throw a grievance at LaFleur because I want that man to stop lying. I want him to tell us what is going on. I want like real answers for some of this stuff. The whole like the way he answers questions in terms of like coaches and players and all this stuff, he puts too much on himself all the time to where I don't know whose fault it is. And some of it, like the Dobbs stuff, Dobbs has been running wrong routes all season, dude. Like he ran a couple wrong ones this past week as well. He's been in the league too long. Then he misses that thing. Like put that on. Then we said it wasn't on the coaching staff. Listen, that's on Dobbs. Like that. I understand. You got to cover for your players. I am done with the lying. Every coach lies. I feel like LaFleur does it to an extreme extent. I want real answers out of that, man. I want some real honesty in terms of what is actually wrong that he can pinpoint. Every now and then we get it. It's rare. That's been my issue with him. And then after this one, and I was trying to think of something because he had some stuff after like this, the presser he had earlier today. He had something out of that too that I was like, brother, just we all know. You can say it out loud. Just say.
Was it the Nixon one? The Nixon Hobbs play?
I think it was the Nixon Hobbs play. Yeah.
It would have been great if he just came out. I was like, yeah, Keyshawn completely freaking blew that one. One of the dumbest mistakes I've seen in my NFL career of head coaching. It's great.
Which like you could just that was on Nixon. We all know it was on Nixon. Like it's fine to say like, listen, we're working to get that cleaned up. Like you can, and he has done this before. You can lay it on the feet of a guy. You can lay it on the feet of a coach. You can do that without like running that guy over, without throwing him under the bus. We've seen him do that. I just want a little bit more of that. Just again, not just from LaFleur. I want that from coaches around the league. There's too much lying. I don't like the lying. Just be up front every now and then, man. I really appreciate it.
I like it. I'm glad you were able to get that off your chest. All right,
thank you,
Maggie. Perri, who's got the next one?
I mean, I hate doing it, but I think it's Rashawn Gary for me. Like JJ Enagbari had more snaps in this game on defense, and
Gary was tired.
Right. don't be tired.
Did he actually put cheese on everything? Was that the problem? Maybe he shouldn't have actually put cheese on everything.
That happens when you move here, but
It does.
yeah, I mean, we talked about like the season we expected him to have, finally having a running mate. And, Micah's taken all these triple teams, and we saw the productivity in the beginning of the season. At one point, they were the leading sack tandem in the NFL. And you're like, okay, after the abysmal pass rush we saw last season, like there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic. And maybe this is going to push Rashawn to play better. And now he hasn't had a sack in 2 months. And you just start to wonder, like, this is an opportunity. Your defense desperately needs you. You're without Devontae Wyatt. I thought LVN played really well, kind of in that like roaming nose, like rushing over center. And it seems like Rashawn, he did have a couple of pressures, but then for every really nice play you see him make, you also see him, kind of like casually jogging and giving up before a play ends. And that to me was really frustrating because it's hard to sack Caleb Williams. It reminds me of the Preston Smith quote about taking Russell Wilson down like chasing chickens, in a fence, like how improbable it is to sack him. But the effort just like ebbs and flows too much for it to feel like, if you still want to be a defense and talk about leadership and, taking up the mantle when Micah's gone, your play on the field isn't necessarily indicative of that.
Fair enough. Perri, you're up.
Yes, second that. The energy for me, Maggie and I were talking about it, like we were texting during the game. I'm like, he's not even running at full speed. Like, what do you mean? Like, and you look at some of the teams, sorry, I'm going to say one, but like you look at some of the teams around the league, like the Lions you mentioned earlier, like they play through every single play. It like the whistle goes and they're still like, oh, now I got to bring it down.
Like, other teams, Evan Williams, Javon Bullard.
Okay, but I'm thinking about edge rushers. Like, yes. I mean, yes, sure. There's guys on this. I just like, oh my God, like Caleb Williams is like running for a first down, and Rashawn's like, oh yeah, I'm coming. Got it. I'm like, oh, okay. Mine is very specific because I have a bunch, but this one, like, I haven't talked about.
Go as long as you want. You have the floor. And get like, it all out, Perri. This is what's going to make you feel better. Get it all out.
We all like have a grievance with special teams, right? Like, I think that's a very obvious one. But within special teams, Brandon McManus, my guy, what is up with not knowing how to kick with the new rules? Like, why do we give every single opposing offense excellent field position and make it harder on our defense every single time? Stop kicking it into the freaking end zone. Like, I know that you can. I know you can do it. I know you can. And like, if we got to get Daniel Whelan out there, like, please, dear Lord, can we just have Daniel Whelan do kickoffs? Because I can't keep watching it. And then they get a return and then they're at the 45. And I'm like, you just handed them 25 yards. Like, and then the Packers are backed up at the 5. And I just like, I can't watch it anymore. It's so frustrating because does he not understand? Can he not control his kicks? Like, what are they practicing, Rich? What are they practicing? And like, again, I know like Romeo Dobbs, like it's not Rich Bisaccia's fault. They didn't catch it. But like when you watch huge mistakes every single kickoff and then again in every single game, it's like, what are we doing here? And I was listening to the broadcast against like, I don't even know what, I think it was the Jaguars Broncos game today. And the announcers are raving about how both teams this season put so much time and effort into special teams and how they know how important it is for the game. And it's like this third level that like really impact. I'm like, when will my team care about this? Please, dear Lord. I can't watch it anymore. It infuriates me. That is my grievance.
I used to play a lot of pickup basketball like at an outdoor court, and there's this little kid that would come out and play, and his range was if he stood toes to the line on the corner 3, as hard as he threw it, that sucker was money every single time. There's got to be a guy on the team with like leg strength that kicks it as hard as he can. It's at the 10, right? Like they've got to have a guy that just kick it as hard as you can. Like you like, this is your job. We know you can't kick it any further. Your perfect range is the 10-yard line. They've got to have a guy like
Not to mention then you get an extra player on the field that can actually tackle too. Yeah. So no, I'm right there with you. I have a feeling we'll see more of that over time as these rules get as they start ramping up towards this rule a little bit more, guys like Justin Reed who can kick off, and it doesn't go as far, and you now have another defender to go and try to tackle the returner. But yeah, my goodness, I'm with you, Perri. And I've seen people say, well, it's clearly something they're trying to do. If you're trying to do it, you don't kick it to the 1 inch line in the end zone, which is where it ends up landing every single time. You're just booting that thing out and saying, we're not giving you the option. You're taking it at the 35. And he has gone to the sidelines with his head down on numerous occasions after these. And Matt LaFleur's been asked about it on numerous occasions and said, no, that is not our game plan. We're not trying to kick it in the end zone. Hey, friends, time to get our sleeper picks in for Monday Night Football, Week 16, San Francisco, Indianapolis. We've got Brock Purdy. We've got Phillip Rivers. This should be a fun one. Brock Purdy, fewer than 242.5 passing yards. Phillip Rivers, fewer than 147.5 passing yards. I do feel like this is going to be more of a defensive struggle. Running games are both going to be heavily involved. So fewer than 147.5 for Rivers, fewer than 242.5 for Brock Purdy. The best thing is using code PACKADAY, you can get in on a variety of different options right now with Sleeper. First of all, you can get a free $20, no deposit required by utilizing code PACKADAY. All right, so that's a good one. Also, if you have yet to sign up for Sleeper, we've got our 100% match up to $100 still going by utilizing code PACKADAY. Again, 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKADAY. Also, last but not least, as we've been talking about this last week or so, if you use the same picks that I do, Phillip Rivers and Brock Purdy, all you have to do is email in your slip to hmasleeperpicks@gmail.com. Again, hmasleeperpicks@gmail.com. It's up on your screen, and you could potentially win $100 on Sleeper as well. Now, terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper for details. They're available in over 25 states nationwide. So get after those Sleeper picks right now. Hey friends, today's show is presented by Luigi's Pizza, and I cannot thank Luigi's enough. What an unbelievable partner. If you haven't checked Luigi's out yet, you are doing yourself a disservice. They are such a huge part of the PACKADAY family, and they support us. Make sure that you're supporting them as well and making Luigi's Pizza part of your family routine, and get those pizzas, those victory pizzas, the dinner pizzas. They're all amazing, and I'm excited to tell you today about the gourmet cheese fries from their gourmet pizza parlor lineup. This is one of my new favorites. We've got the Parmesan and Romano blend, Wisconsin mozzarella, garlic sauce, that beautiful, robust tomato dipping sauce. This is a pizza parlor worthy cheese fry, a fantastic addition to the Luigi's lineup. I cannot recommend it enough. Perfect for a game day snack, an after school snack, a side order for your pizza, or a perfect meal. Whatever you want to do with it, you're going to enjoy it. They are unbelievable. They are savory. They're delicious. And you're going to want to put in another one right after, because you cannot get enough of these. Find out more at luigispizza.com. Make sure you're following them on social media at Luigi's Pizza, and get yourself some gourmet cheese fries from the gourmet pizza parlor lineup. You will thank me later. What are you waiting for? Go get some right now. All right. I'm going to follow up on Perri's, and I'm going to disagree with maybe some comments earlier. I give Rich Bisaccia no pass for the onside kick recovery. He's a couple things. First of all, I talked about this with Nagler today as well for Cheesehead TV. I don't know that I know he's done it before. I don't know that Romeo Doubs is my choice of the guy I want in that situation. And I know that Romeo Doubs said that they rep this throughout the course of even this past week, which great, wonderful. They didn't rep it well enough, because my guy looked like he was fresh out of the womb trying to catch an onside kick for the first time, and didn't have any wherewithal to bat that thing out of bounds or do anything differently. You have to be prepared for all situations. Not only that, Xavier McKinney gets completely blown up on his block on the play. Bo Melton doesn't even basically get to his block on the play. Kudos to Javon Bullard for doing a great job on his particular block. Josh Jacobs is just kind of jogging over to the play. Keyshawn Nixon kind of backs it up a little bit. There's no urgency on that play whatsoever. And watching, just as this whole thing unfolds, right in front is Rich Bisaccia, just watching it there in beautiful comedic timing of that it's just happening in front of him. And he's just dead still. He doesn't even know what to do or to say or anything. And if this was a one-off, if this was the first big special teams error of the year, all right, I still would be probably pretty pissed off about it. But the fact that there's multiple losses this year that have happened in direct result to special teams plays. Great, you repped it throughout the course of the week. Yes, Romeo could have paid it off, and we're not talking about the special teams at all today. If Romeo just simply catches an onside, it is a 92% probability that you recover an onside kick in the modern NFL. and Green Bay found a way to vomit that up at the worst possible time. So no, even if it's not, if it's more on Romeo, if it's 99% Romeo and 1% Rich, that to me, that 1% is enough. And I give no pass. You shall not pass go. You do not collect $200. Go directly to jail. I'm not saying fire Rich. I'm not fire everyone guy, and that all of a sudden makes everything better. But I will just say, for those who are fire Rich, I get it, is all I'll say.
For the record, not because of this, I am very much fire rich and have been for a while. And if this is the straw that breaks the camel's back,
Fair
then
enough.
so be it. I don't think this is his fault, but that's fine. If this is what gets him out, brother, it's got to be something.
The Rams fired their special teams coordinator last week.
It would be
And
so
they
Packers
didn't
to fire
even-
Rich and sign him.
They didn't even have a bad like this was a worse blunder. He has had 10 worse blunders than the Rams special teams. I don't get it. Maggie has thoughts on that. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about the disdain for Matt LaFleur, and it seems like his seat is always hot, right? Regardless, because that kind of comes with the territory of being a head coach. Like these wins, these losses, as big as the moment is, as like big as the heartbreak, it's all gonna fall on him. To say that, like, you know, if he pulls this off with Malik Willis, all of a sudden we're talking about how incredible he is as a head coach, right? To have his backup prepared, and you have the NFC North like in your hands, and you have this opponent on the ropes, and then it falls apart and it's his fault. And earlier when we were talking about it, I said I think that my problem with Matt LaFleur is not who he is as a head coach or how he operates. I think it's a loyalty thing with him. And I don't have a problem with loyalty, but sometimes you wonder if that's like what gets him in trouble, is because he doesn't want to hurt feelings and move on from people. And that's why you see like Mo Drayton and Rich Bisaccia and these guys stick around. I know Mo Drayton was 1 year, but still like the internal
Maybe too long still.
elevations.
Yeah.
But, you know, like he doesn't want to ruffle feathers with anybody, which is why the Ben Johnson thing is so weird to me, because he seems like he is such a nice, genuine person, LaFleur. And then you see him have like a little bit of disdain for someone and you're like, ooh, okay. Like, I didn't know you had that in you really, Matt. But yeah, to me, that I guess would be my issue with him, is not necessarily like the head coaching pieces of it. It's just the not knowing how to manage the managerial side of it, like the front office-y kind of like in-house hirings, firings, pressers and things like that.
Which is funny. I mean, I don't want to go too far down the road, but that was always my main complaint with McCarthy as well, was that guys were stuck around a little too long. Capers was there for longer than Capers need to be there. So at some point I don't know how the operation of some of the front office stuff works. Like, is that something from like, you need to keep a guy this amount of time, you know, if you hire them? Like, is there something from front office driving that? Or is that just part of Green Bay culture that like they get these guys in and like, I don't really want to let this guy go after 1 year? Because I mean, McCarthy, that was especially the later years of McCarthy, those teams started falling apart a little bit for the exact same reasons. And now it's the same thing again. I think LaFleur is doing a great job, but it is a lot of that same kind of thing, which, like you said, like I always say that the same thing, Maggie, where I'm like, my problem is his loyalty, and then you got to backtrack a little. Like, well, it's good to be loyal. It's on the whole, it's good to be loyal.
And the way the Packers operate with players, right? It's like you always cut them a year early than a year late, and then with coaching staff, it's always like they have to stay 3 years past their welcome when your window is closing, and you kind of like miss out on some of these opportunities. Like they're quick to get rid of players for things, but then the coaches have like the longest extensions possible.
Like Patton was always such a weird one too, because Patton, who I now look back on with like rosy-eyed glasses, like, oh man, some of the stuff Patton was doing, like he wasn't even fired, right? Like his contract just ran out. Like he should have been fired, but his contract just expired. So that wasn't even like they got rid of him. They just let that man walk. Like,
should have signed him to an extension just to fire him. Just be like, we want to fire you so bad, we're going to sign you to an extension first.
You know that hope we just gave you? Guess what, buddy?
You're out of here. I just wanted the enjoyment to fire you. I'm going to pay you the salary to fire you. I do wonder how much of it is He's had 2 offensive coordinators, 3 defensive coordinators, 3 special teams coordinators, where you do start all of a sudden getting a reputation in the league. If something goes wrong, oh, he's just going to get rid of his coordinators. And I also do think there's probably a front office aspect of like, when you give Rich Bisaccia the highest paid contract or whatever, like you can't just let him go and then bring in another one. There's probably people in the building that are like, no, you paid this guy, you're sticking with him. So, but you didn't have to extend him this past offseason. You didn't have to extend him and probably give him a raise this past offseason. That you did not have to do. So, I think there's probably a truth in there to being a bit too loyal as well. All right, you guys can have a choice. I'm gonna give Maggie the choice because she's the smartest of the group.
Great.
Maggie, we can either do a little bit of talk on Packers Ravens, or we can each make a Packers holiday wish before we get out of here. Which would you prefer?
Let's make a holiday wish.
All right. You have to start then, since you got to choose.
No.
The pressure's on you. And you cannot wish for a Super Bowl. You cannot wish for Micah Parsons' ACL to be magically. These have to be realistic. I mean, Super Bowl is realistic, but of course, that would be everyone's wish, is to win the Super Bowl. So it has to be a realistic wish that's not like obvious.
I wish for the Bears to lose Wild Card Weekend.
Okay. I like that a lot. That seems like it should have a great chance of coming to fruition. Perri, do you have a holiday Packers wish?
I wish for everyone who is currently rostered for the rest of the season to stay healthy for the rest of the season.
Yours is so nice.
I want the Bears to die. I want people death.
I live too close to Illinois. I'm sorry.
I do like that Maggie chose like the nice one. I'm going to do a Christmas wish. I wish ill on my enemies.
Death to my enemy.
I was going to do Perry's. I'm just going to say I wish for the best version of Jordan Love. I don't care wins and losses. I just wish for the best version of Jordan Love going forward.
Love that.
All right, I'm gonna go a play off of Perry's, because Perry's was that everyone that's healthy stays. I'm gonna everyone that's questionable or like has the ability to return.
That's what I meant.
Oh, well, then that's I didn't have.
No, I meant everyone who's on the roster. So like not on IR.
Okay.
Right. Like you
So
You guys
Josh
are really making me look really
good.
bad. Just so we're clear.
stay healthy. Everybody stay healthy.
I wish that everyone on the Bears also stayed healthy and they had good Christmases.
Sorry, Andy.
No, that's okay. Now I'm all right. I got to think what I want for my holiday wish. I want Matthew Golden to have a legitimate breakout.
Let's go
the rest of the season, because I think he is that good, and I think it's just a matter of time. And I think once it clicks, you're going to see it come together in a pretty significant way. So I'm going to say a breakout for Matthew Golden. And we're holiday wishing all first round picks for Green Bay that are on the team break out in a city. I need Jordan Morgan, LVN, Rashawn Gary, Matthew Golden, all of them to have major breakout remainders of this season, because that would help a whole hell of a lot, quite frankly, if all of them did that. So we're going with the first round picks, breakouts for all of them. That's
Can I make another one? You said it has to be realistic, right?
Go for it.
I wish for all of the Packers dropped interceptions this season to come back to them in their future games.
Do they catch him this time?
Yeah. They become
drop
real
him again.
They become real interceptions.
Just to experience it again. Just to have my heart ripped out again.
I'm a real boy. No, real interceptions.
I love it. We'll obviously be talking Packers Ravens throughout the course of the week, and have you covered for all Packers news, updates, etc. I had a feeling that bringing all 3 of you guys on, especially together, was somehow, some way going to make me feel a lot better. It did. I feel great. I'm happy to be a Packers fan again.
It didn't.
I feel worse.
Thanks. Dusty not believing that this team can win a Super Bowl broke me in ways I didn't expect coming into this episode. But no, I do feel good. This was a ton of fun. Dusty, I'll start with you. Where can we find all of your incredible work, my friend?
Packing Company. You'll find all this stuff over there. I'm writing stuff on Passing Game. I have no idea what I'm doing this week. I just started sitting down with the film like a couple hours ago. So, but yeah, all my writing will be up over there.
Well, we'll let you get out of here so you can finish up your writing, which is absolutely tremendous every single week. We appreciate the work you do on that a ton. Perri, where can we find all of your incredible work?
Well, I podcast with this lovely lady over here. It's called Pax What She Said. If you want more catharsis, we did our Bears recap it's all the things. So you can go find that on YouTube. I really don't know how else to describe it, Maggie. But we'll be back for a Ravens preview. We go twice a week. It's very fun. You can find me at Perri_Goldstein everywhere else.
Maggie Loney.
Yeah, you can find me at Maggie J. Loney. Mina Kimes has been on Packs What She Said, so that should be reason enough for you to want to listen to our show.
She also reposted the Bears recap episode.
She did.
That's awesome.
And I am gonna maybe be doing some writing coming up, so look for that to drop soonish.
Look at you. I'm excited for that. Maggie Loney back in the writing biz. That's fantastic. Check out Packs What She Said, guys. If you're not checking it out, you're doing your Packers coverage entirely wrong. Perri and Maggie do incredible work. So make sure that you're checking that out every single week. And we are lucky to have Perri on regularly. And obviously Dusty with Steve and Sarah every Wednesday on the show. And Maggie abandoned us. So screw her.
I have a child. Okay.
We all, well, not Perri, but Dusty and I have childs.
Yeah.
Children.
I also have 2 childs. It's great.
Yeah.
2 child.
No, go follow all of them. They're all incredible people. And I cannot thank all of you enough for coming on and joining me today. You can find me at Andy Herman NFL, of course, the podcast at Pack a Day Podcast. Go follow Dusty, Maggie, and Perri. That is going to do it for us today. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.
Back out.
Go.